Welcome to more cool things in Power BI. Since Power BI has monthly updates, this means that sometimes new and exciting features can slip under the radar. You're focused on getting your job done and don't always have time to check out all of those things available to you. That's why you have us at Senturus. In this video, we'll take a look at DAX Query View. Have you ever found yourself wishing you could just do a SQL query on your data and return a result set? DAX Query View has you covered. DAX Query View is a new feature that is still in preview and allows you to view and work with DAX queries and semantic models. We're all used to working with DAX formulas in Power BI. Now with DAX queries, we can use it to return data from our model. DAX queries are similar to SQL queries and return data. They don't create items in the model or visualizations on a report. These query views have two main parts: evaluate, which is essentially our select statement and is required in any DAX query, and define. Define statement is optional and allows you to define DAX formulas inside your query. This is useful for creating measures in a query. These same measures can be added to the model with CodeLens in Visual Studio. Let's take a look and see how DAX queries work. DAX Query View is still a preview feature. Therefore, in order to start using it, we need to go to File, Options and Settings, Options, and under Preview Features, enable this option. Once it's enabled, we'll see we have a new icon over here on the left. We have our report view, our table view, our model view, and now our DAX query view. When we click on it, we get the DAX query editor. We have a dedicated ribbon just for DAX queries. Let's take a look at each of these buttons in detail. First and foremost, we have the format query. This is great if you have long queries and need to make them easier to read. Let's see what that does. Down below here in our query editor, we've got a sample query. Evaluate top N100 from DIM customer. If this was all on one line, for example, and we wanted to be able to make this easier to read, we can take our format query and it'll break it out into multiple lines. Now this might be a little extreme given the size of our query, but you can see that in a very large query, this would be very easy, especially if that query's been copied and pasted from another application. Remember, we're looking to work with our standard SQL queries, things that we have worked with in the past, things that are familiar to us. We might have queries that have a bit of a challenge. Here we can copy and paste them in, use the format query, and start getting to our data. We also have the ability to comment and uncomment our queries. Again, if we're working with other people or using older queries from other sources, having comments in there can go a long way. We have a typical find and replace where we can change things such as a data source name or a table name. But then we have this command palette. Now this one is pretty interesting. When we click on this, it returns a dialog box that gives us a list of query editor actions and their shortcuts where appropriate. So we can see that we can delete, we can copy, we can zoom in, all sorts of quick access to functionality. The query editor itself is where we'll write our DAX query. Like the DAX formula bar we normally see in Power BI, it offers suggestions and uses IntelliSense while writing out your query. Let's take a look at that. So we've got our evaluate. Remember, the evaluate must be there. The evaluate is our equivalent of select. So if we wanted to do a select star from a particular table, we would start with evaluate and then type our table name. Again, look at the IntelliSense activating, making it easy for us. When we run this query, This returns all of the rows in our dim customer table. We now have a query tab down below. We also see how long the query took to run and the total number of rows. We can have multiple query tabs open at any time. All of these are saved when we save the PBIX file. Now, what if we wanted to just explore a subset of this data? With DAX queries, you have what's known as a quick query. If we right-click on the table over here, we have the option to go to quick queries. Here, I can show the top 100, or I can look at statistics on the table. Let's take a look at statistics. What this returns back is information. Here we can see our distinct values, any nulls, our mins, our medians, etc. This null count is really helpful when we're trying to cleanse and prepare our data for reporting. Now, it is written a very, very complex DAX query in this case. This is something you can use for reference when learning DAX queries. Let's go ahead and do a show top 100. Now, we're just bringing back the top 100 rows in this table, just like if we did a select 100. Down the bottom, we've got another query tab, and here's where we have a really nice feature. We can take this data, we can copy it, and use just that data for reporting. So I've gone back to the report view, and I'm going to enter data, and I'm going to paste it in. It's automatically promoted my first row to column headers, which is perfect. And now I can save this as sample customer table and use just this top 100 table for my reports while I'm doing development work. This is just a brief introduction to this cool feature, and we encourage you to dig deeper with us in future videos. As you just saw, DAX Query Views bring a lot to the table. We get a sense of familiarity by using tools in a language we already know. Being able to just return the data set we want gives us quick access to the data when we need it. By having this data available in smaller subsets, we can reuse it in other reports and other workbooks. All of this ends up leading to faster, smarter decisions with real-time data analysis. And this is something that's already built in and ready to go today. We hope you've enjoyed this video. If you want to be notified when there are more videos like this, please like and subscribe below. If you'd like help getting started, reach out to us at any of the information that you see here in the video. Thank you for attending.